Hello, gang. We are back with another edition of On the Icebox with Iceberg Bricks. My guest tonight is the lovely Aussie Brick Chick, and she comes from Australia. All you guys know her. Her streams are phenomenal, and she just came back from a show over the weekend. Say hello, Miss Aussie Brick Chick.
Mrs.
Mrs. I'm sorry. I don't want to get shot. I don't want to get.
Yeah. I'm married to my man.
That's right.
But yeah.
Yeah.
All hyped up. Come home from a Lego show just last night. It was a very, very long last day. Got home at like 10:30 at night, and I'm awake now.
I don't know how you do it. I'd be dead to the world. That's a long weekend to be doing that and then still survive the next day.
Oh yeah. Well, we set up like all day Friday. Then it's like 9 to 4 Saturday, 9 to 4 on Sunday, and yeah, it took us until about 7 o'clock. After 7 o'clock, before we actually got like finished packing and left, and had some dinner on the way home. And yeah, luckily my hubby he drives, so I can have a little cat.
Right. Oh yeah. That's
I'm
good.
a bit fresher than he might be.
Yeah, especially the drive.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a little bit tough. So are you unpacked already? Are you still packed?
Oh, unpacked never happens.
Ah. You got the show ready to go.
Yeah, it seems like we do shows every couple of months or so, with the exception from like September to January. So a lot of our stuff doesn't come out of storage, like it stays all packed up in between shows. Most of our setup takes so long because we don't have a lot of room where we live. So we're making adjustments at the show. So I actually changed some of my display as I was setting up at the show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, had a little MacGyver, just innovative. Yeah, I can relate to that. I can relate.
Yes, probably at a slightly bigger scale than just a couple of little things. So yeah.
Okay.
It's what you have to do when you live in an apartment. Unfortunately, with we don't have a lot of space, and we have too many things. We need to downsize all the non-Lego things to make room for the Lego.
Oh, I can relate to that too. In an apartment size, and I'm trying to get to the house so I can get a nice table, a nice little layout and stuff. People keep asking about my city. I don't have a city. I don't have room for a city.
I'm seriously jealous of the people who have houses that are big enough to fit like a city layout. And I mean, before we lived here, we lived in like a 4-bedroom house that had really big living areas. Like it had 2 living areas in it, and we could have like this massive space and have like folding tables out, and we'd lay out our designs on it. And that was pretty early in the process of us doing shows and displays and stuff. So we had all this space, and now we're getting a lot better at it. We have no space to do anything. It's Murphy's Law, unfortunately. The more Lego you get, the less room you have to design and do things with it.
I got you. So tell me, ABC, how did you get into Lego?
Oh, that's a bit of a long story. I'll give you the amended version of it. It's all my brother's fault. Now, let me extend on that statement. My brother's been into Lego like his whole entire life. He's like my friend RRB. Only he's like 35 now, not still like late teens, early 20s. So
he lost his boyish years.
Yes, he never grew up. So he never had a dark age, my brother. So he's always been into it. And he was in a Lego group long before I was. And his group of friends that were in a Lego group, they did like the first Lego show in Brisbane. And he was like, oh, you do crafty things, you should make some Lego jewelry. So I was like, oh, and I thought about it, and then I thought, okay, fine, I might as well try. I made like a handful of stuff, and he took it along to the show, and he sold quite a lot of it, so I had to make some more and then bring it to him to top it up. And then I got my first taste, like proper, of a Lego show. And shortly thereafter, he encouraged me to join that Lego group, which I did. And I wasn't really like Lego or anything. I was like sort of, just curious, I guess, was probably the best way to put it. Right. And like all of us, you sort of start being curious. And I wasn't into Lego as a kid at all. So my first taste of Lego was maiming it and gluing it for jewelry. And then I got sucked into actually doing like building Lego stuff. So that group that my brother was a part of, stuff happened, politics, you go group of people, hobby, and craziness happens sometimes. And part of that group split off. I tested nicer people split off. Well, most of the nicer people split off, and we created the Queensland Lego User Group. And at that point, which I'm one of the admins of, the founding admins. And because I was learning, I was like sharing my experience and growth and learning as the group grew. So our group is about 5 years old now. So I've been to Lego for like 5 years, and it doesn't feel like that
long. It doesn't feel that long at all, huh?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, I tell you what, you elaborated on that a lot, so you kind of got me through a lot of these questions here.
I'm sorry, I made you skip a lot of your questions.
No, it's great. It's great. And one thing about the show, I want you to be yourself. So so don't dial back because the people want to know, and I definitely want to know. So tell us some of you share some of your ambitions. Tell us some of your Lego aspirations. How far you really want to take this thing, and tell us what's waiting on the horizon. What's the next big adventure for ABC?
Big adventure. I would like to be able to travel and go like overseas to one of the big shows. The reality of my situation is, though, I don't think that would happen without some kind of a sponsorship of some kind, because I don't make a lot of money and I spend it all on Lego.
So wait. Before you answer the other two, you telling me all your American brothers and sisters have to do to get you over here is to pay for your plane ticket and you're good to go? That's it?
Well, I'd have to get myself a passport. I don't own one of those. But yeah pretty much. Yeah,
you got to get yourself a passport because you got to come over here. We got to get you over here.
Yeah. The USA is one of my bucket list places to go to one of the big shows over there. I also want to check out some of the European ones, and there's another big one in London that I've seen that I really, really like to go to. So yeah, traveling further afar would be great. I've been as far as Melbourne, which is I don't know how far that is to travel. Basically, for me to travel from here to Melbourne, it would take almost as long as it takes for me to get to New Zealand on a plane.
Okay.
So
that's quite the travel.
Quite a distance to travel, and we have to travel 100 kilometers south to the nearest major airport to actually go to Melbourne and have decent flight times. Our local one,
right?
You can't get all of the flights. I don't think Qantas does flights from our local, so we like to travel on the bigger airlines because they have better conditions.
Okay, I got you. All right. So what's waiting on the horizon? What can we expect next from it?
What do you mean, as in what I'm building, what I'm doing?
Yes. Yes, what you're building. What's the
What
next
I'm building?
on the horizon?
Okay. At the moment, is a big sort of like taking a break for a minute
Mm-hmm.
and having a rest, because with the number of shows we do in a year,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of work. And like I said, don't have very much space in my house. Like, you're seeing a really tiny portion of my living room here. So I don't have like any major projects in the works. Usually I just go for whatever, whenever I feel inspired to do stuff. So I'm not much of a big planner in advance thing. That's more of my husband's thing. He likes to plot and scheme and plan things to like really fine detail. I just sort of fly by the seat of my pants kind of gal.
Uh-huh.
Go where the wind takes me. But yeah, we're hoping to make some changes to Dinosaur Park. Whether or not actually get achieved in the very near future, I'm not sure.
Okay.
At the moment, our display is still stuck in Brisbane. We're waiting for it to be transported back. The organisers of the Lego shows that we go to were holding on to it because they thought that people mightn't be potentially reliable to turn up to an event. So they were keeping it as like insurance for filling in space.
Got you. Okay.
We ended up taking it to the event prior because people had to pull out for personal family reasons. I mean, it wasn't because they were being unreliable, just stuff came up. So it was like, it's okay, you can, take this, and then, it won't feel like there's gaps in the show. So
Okay.
yeah, it's a bit hard to work on something when it's like, an hour's drive away from home.
Oh yeah.
Somebody else's house.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So tell us when you're building ABC, when you're building, tell us, can you describe your work when you're building?
My work? Do you mean like how I go about it, or?
Yes. Take us through the steps, like in your creative process.
Okay. Usually something. Okay. Let me rewind for a second there. It depends on what project you're talking about. If I'm doing something as part of a collaborative, usually I look at the overall project and what's expected. And then I'll go, how can I bend as many rules as possible?
Right. Cutting the corners, huh?
I like to build things.
Cutting corners, huh? All right.
Particularly if the project is spearheaded by somebody else. But yeah, sorry, Bailey. But I like to try and like press the boundaries and do something a bit different, because it feels sometimes like there's not a lot of strong female role models out there in the Lego community. I mean, they exist, but just to put stuff out there that I mean, it's not to get all like gender stereotypes and all that, but there are girls that love pink. I love pink.
Right. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
So, I'll build in the girly colors, but I'll also build stuff that's in regular other colors. But I like to put stuff out there that'll inspire those little girls that are like, oh, I can't build that. That's a boys thing. Like with the Galactic Asteroid Rally thing that my group was doing. We had to build little spaceships, and because of the way that people's concepts of what races would look like, I could see how a little girl would see that and go, oh, that's a boy thing. I'm not going to build that. Not even try. So I got in and I was building things that were pink and girly and interesting, like sleek shapes that were less masculine, and trying to just sort of push the boundaries a bit. But when you're looking at things like Dinosaur Park, it's more about the stories within the display. And with my my mini city, the Micropolis, It's more about
Mm-hmm.
what Lego I have. And I just randomly come up with things that come out of my mind. My mind thinks up some pretty weird stuff.
Yeah, and we'll get into it because you have some unique stuff that I like, you know. So that's why I've been chasing you down, and you know I love your builds, and I'm sure you know you have dozens and dozens and dozens of fans that feel the same way. So tell me about the lug that you're affiliated with, the Q lug. Let's talk about the Q lug. What's the
Okay.
affiliation with the Q lug? Tell us about Q lug and tell us your role in Q lug.
Tell us all about QLug, yeah. QLug is the Queensland Lego user group. We were founded in 2013. So yeah, this is like the 5th year we've been together as a group. So in name, we were together for about a year before we had the name.
Okay. Right.
So it was myself, Jeff, and Steve were the first administrators that created what became the Queensland Lego user group. Prior to that, we were just a loose group of people, and we established the online presence of the lug. We went through all the processes of becoming what's called a recognized lug with Lego. And when you do that and, you know, you become recognized, or whatever the other word is that some people use that are,
You get the notoriety, right? Yeah, you get the notoriety. Yeah.
You get certain amounts of help and assistance from Lego. So within that covers things like, have you heard of Lug Bulk before?
No, I never have. I'm trying to get one. Hopefully I'll get one soon. I'm just a small person.
Okay. So firstly, you have to be in an R-Lug. So they don't extend this to just anybody. You've got to meet certain criteria. So it's best to find yourself an R-Lug that's already established and find out how they go about doing things, and just get involved is probably the best way to do it, because when it comes to the things that you get given, it's sort of like a thank you for being involved in doing stuff. You know, don't go joining an R-Lug just to get all the free stuff and then go, see ya. That's, you know, kind of rude.
Thank you. Go on. Yeah, that's bad.
we get some of those though. R-Lugs meet certain criteria in the year. I can't go through all the fine details because I can't think of them off the top of my head. Basically, you have to meet a certain amount of times in a year. You have to do events so many times in the year, and have a web presence. So you have to have a website, and you have to provide, you know, how many people are in your group, what you do in the year. You report back to them basically, and what our lugs, you know, in a roundabout way do is help promote Lego as a brand. And then Lego's like, you know, hey, you know, you can have some free stuff. So we get sent once a year, we get sent what's called group support. Throughout the year when we have our events, we get what's called event support. They also have other types of support for special projects that you can like put in a proposal and they go, yeah, sure. That's not free, but you get other things, like they support you in other ways. And yeah, but basically it's like a sort of a formal but not formal arrangement. You have an ambassador. Our ambassador is Jeff. I'm sort of like his right-hand woman. He's my right-hand man. We're very supportive of each other. We're sort of like the mom and dad of
you like the sergeant at arms. So I can keep everybody in line. I got you.
Yes. And I do a lot of the administration work behind the scenes. I do all our photography, our social media. I wrote blog posts for our website. Yeah, the list just goes on and on and on and on, because we've only got a handful of people, because we're not an incorporated group. We're just a social group. We don't make any money or do things in that respect, other than, you know, maybe running a raffle to cover the costs of things. Like the project that we did recently, the group paid for all the Lego, with the exception of people's individual races. So like the actual like track and stuff like that. And things like the you might have seen in some of my pictures that people wearing Q-Lug club shirts. If you're a person that exhibits at one of the shows, we give you a free shirt. So we don't make our members pay for it if you do stuff. So, but yeah, I've been really heavily involved in this lug for since its very beginning. Like, it's a lot of work.
It sounds like you're very, very involved in it. Like just as your Lego, you're very involved in your Lego, and you told us what's unique about your building process, how you make the colors pop, and you invite the other side. You know, we got the boy side, but you invite the girl side over into Lego with your builds. Do you allow others to see your process as you're building?
Sometimes I'll share stuff on Instagram, but quite often I build some things so quickly that I couldn't possibly share my process. If you could see my house when I'm in the middle of being creative, is like crazy. There'll be Lego in containers on the floor, Lego on every like horizontal surface. I mean, it's all around me. It drives my husband crazy because he's like a very organized person when it comes to building. He's very processed. I'm the opposite. I'm like, all the colors need to be around me, all the pieces, and then like I'll find interesting bits that inspire me and then sort of flesh out from there, rather than mostly like thinking of an overall like overarching concept to begin with. I mean, sometimes I do that, but more often I'm just looking at, you know, what catches my eye, because if I don't see it, it doesn't exist in my world. So I have to have all of my Lego all around me when I'm building, and I might sit down and, you know, be sort of half watching something on television on Netflix or something, and, you know, just playing with things, putting things together. I haven't learned a lot of like Lego techniques from books or anything like that. I just push things together and see what works and what doesn't work.
All right.
Very handsome.
So do you share your gift? Like, do you build with your significant others, and like, and before you answer that, what I do know about you is that you come from a large Lego family, like you said earlier. Not only you share that gift with your brother, but your husband's in the Lego, your child is in Lego, your mom and dad is in Lego. Please elaborate on that.
Please elaborate. Yes. Let's just say that when we first started doing shows, the media would be asking to you know, talk to people, and the event organizers would say, "Oh, well, we have this whole family that's into Lego. You know, mom, dad, brothers, sisters, grandson." And the newspaper would come over and like they still, you know, still roll this one out every now and then, that they'll take like a multi-generational photo of all the people who are into Lego. My son's a little less into Lego these days because he's nearly 14. He's like, it's still cool to build with, like, you know, but he's not as obsessed as he was when he was like, you know, 6, 7, 8. Lego shows are kind of passe to him because he's been to so many of them. But yeah, like I said, my brother got me into Lego. My husband was sort of coming out of his dark ages. He got into it like after me, surprisingly. And my brother sucked my mum into it, and then my dad sort of shortly followed thereafter. So we all do shows together. Sometimes we have to share accommodation together.
So your brother's quite the trailblazer in the family when it came to Lego.
Yeah. But you know, if you want to take it back to the roots, it's Mum's fault for buying him that damn train.
It's always the train. It's always the train, especially the holiday ones.
Yes, because he was a train nut first, a Lego nut second.
Ah, I got you. Got you. Do you have any other hobbies outside of what you bring into your mocks? And does either like your hobby, your non-Lego hobby, spill over into your Lego hobby? A little bit of creative idea.
Okay, Lego is probably my most all-encompassing hobby. I do have a few other hobbies. If anyone like follows my Instagram, you'll occasionally see random pictures of fish.
Okay.
And wonder why are there fish. Yeah, me and my son, we keep fish together. So we have goldfish and bristlenose catfish. That's something relaxing. But as far as things that I might be interested in and do that come into my Lego builds, in Dinosaur Park, if you ever get a chance to see it in person, because it's impossible to like see all the details from photos, I have a lot of like pop culture references, and me and my husband, we're big into Doctor Who. We're Whovians.
Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have like little Easter eggs of stories, with minifigs about Doctor Who. So if you ever see it up close, you'll see there's three. Hang on. There's the 10th Doctor twice. Once with Rose and once in like his first appearance where he loses his hand.
I remember that one.
Yeah. Then there's also one of the 11th Doctor with River Song. There's also the 12th Doctor and Clara. Right. You'll also see other like little things that are like mentions to certain shows that we particularly enjoyed watching, like the particular episodes. So there's one there from Silence in the Library of like a guy in like an astronaut. He liked suit, but he's got a skeleton for a face. So if anyone out there is a Whovian, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. My brother got me into Doctor Who, so yeah.
You're not into Doctor Who?
I said my older brother got me into Doctor Who and stuff. So yeah, every episode that you just ran down, I remember. I remember. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of other like little bits and pieces. Like we got the Pandora car and was the other one? Rory dressed up as a Roman centurion.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So it sounds like
he's guarding it.
What'd you say?
And he's guarding the Pandora car.
I gotta see that. I don't think I've seen that one yet. It sounds like what'd you say?
You've got to watch a lot more Doctor Who by the sounds of it.
Yeah, a little bit. I gotta I gotta brush up on it. It's been a while. I was a little boy since I last seen that episode. So
right.
The big brother had control of the TV, so you had to go with the flow, right?
Well, see, that's the thing is that I'm the oldest in my family, but my dad had control of the television. So I grew up being stuck watching Friday Night Football and stuff like that. So as a side effect of that, I'm not very big on watching the sports.
Yeah. I don't watch too much sports lately. Lego's been taking my whole life. So it sounds like Lego is very therapeutic for you. What satisfactions does Lego give you?
It just helps me to like tune out and be creative and just decompress from my day. I work in aged care. I'm an assistant nurse, so I do a lot of personal care work and deal with people who are facing the inevitability of dying and being surrounded by that all the time. You need like downtime. You need something that is positive and gives you like when you create something that's your own, there's like that sense of accomplishment, and it makes you feel good.
Right.
So
Yeah,
that's what
I
Lego
can
does
definitely
for me.
relate. Yeah, I can
And
relate. I can
I love
definitely relate.
sharing my hobby with all my friends,
Yeah.
on the internets, because not all my friends live near me.
So that old lady, she always in the house on the computer all the time. She never comes out. Antisocial.
Yeah. I only ever come out for works, meets, and shows.
Uh, has your love of Lego helped you persevere through a difficult situation, and you care to share?
That's a hard one. I can say that having a love of Lego and sharing it with family has sort of like kept our family bond together a lot stronger.
Mm-hmm.
But as for like a specific point in time, a specific thing that's happened, I know that a couple years back I went through a redundancy from work, like from a job that I'd held for about 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
and that was difficult. And
Mm-hmm.
having Lego to just create with and stuff like that kind of helped. It kind of
Mm-hmm.
sucked because I didn't have money to buy more, but um, from from that respect, that it gave me something to do, kept me occupied, beyond the just looking for a job and feeling desperate for more a new career sort of thing. And that's how I ended up going from being retail management to working in aged care, because well, I love working with older people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I suppose from that standpoint, I guess Lego helped there. But just with the confidence and building up friendships and stuff like that, having
Mm-hmm.
friends that are as obsessed with your hobby or more obsessed with your hobby as you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
when you're talking and talking and talking about this thing that you love so much, that you're not like pushing people away. I think that's sort of helped me to develop me personally.
Right.
I've become a more confident person through my Lego hobby and what I've had to do with QLog.
Okay. Okay.
Mm.
So tell us what was your most difficult project that you had to embark on?
Most difficult project. Ooh. Um, Nothing's been overly difficult, but
Mm-hmm.
I think the most challenging one was probably when we decided we wanted to go to Brickvention for
Mm-hmm.
2016. So this was back in late, it would have been about this time in 2015. We decided
Mm-hmm.
we want to go to Melbourne, we want to go to Brickbench, and we want to go to the big show. Like, it's the biggest show that happens in Australia, simply
Mm-hmm.
because they've been going on the longest. And there's a lot more Lego communities sort of in the south. So where I live, if anyone is sort of slightly knows about Australia and the fact that we have states and whatnot, I'm from
Mm-hmm.
Queensland. Queensland's sort of to the north, and then you've
Mm-hmm.
got along the east coast, you've got New South Wales,
Mm-hmm.
then you've got Victoria, and then below that you've got Tasmania. So, and then
Mm-hmm.
slightly over you've got South Australia. So a lot of the communities, like in South Australia, in Victoria and New South Wales, so they all sort of converge to Melbourne, which is sort of in between, and you get people who come up
Mm-hmm.
from Tasmania as well. Whereas Queensland, we're so far away from everybody else that we're sort of like our own little insular community. Other than the socials on the internet,
Right.
people don't tend to want to spend money to come and be a part of our world. But people up here will go to the bigger shows down there because, you know, it's like going to a big show in the US. I'm assuming that traveling, you're just like, oh, it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
So I had to build something to go to that because I wanted to go as an exhibitor. And we couldn't manage the logistics of taking Dinosaur Park because Dinosaur Park is like 2 massive tables worth of stuff. And in order to transport that, we would have had to have either put it in the hands of a freight company at our expense and trust them to get it from point A to point B without breaking too many things. And if anyone saw what happened to Down Under, he took stuff in his luggage and it was absolutely trashed. He had his Avengers Tower.
I seen when he packed it.
He did a good job of packing it. They still smashed it to pieces. So that was the same convention that we went to. So I decided, okay, well, we couldn't afford like the time or the money to do like a road trip because it would have been like a good few days to get down to Melbourne from where we live. Because you wouldn't be able to do it in one trip. Like you'd be mad to. I know people who have, but taking turns driving. But I don't drive, so that makes it difficult. And it's like time off work, motels going down. Like it was going to cost too much in time and money. Plus, our son was like away at the time doing a scout jamboree, and he was due back on the Thursday, which was like the first setup day for Brickvention. So it's like, oh my goodness, we can't do this. And we really wanted to do it that year because it was like the 10th anniversary of the show. So it was going to be a bigger deal. It was like, if you're going to go to this particular year. So we're like, okay, what can we do? So we looked at all of the group projects that could be done and decided that would do Micropolis because it would fit into a suitcase. So my hardest project, getting to the point now, my hardest project was designing my first Micropolis block. So that was my Japanese garden. I actually designed it in Lego Digital Designer, and me and 3D on the screen kind of environments do not get along very well. So it was very, very challenging, like crazy challenging. And so I did all that to figure it out for my very first block. And eventually put all the elements together. Like I had to order in things special, which is I don't normally do, and put it all together. So like had a little Japanese temple and a little Shinto gate and all the the landscaping within this block. And then I had to sort of adjust things according to what my eye saw in the actual build itself, because seeing it on a screen for me is so much different to seeing it in person. So using Lego Designer was probably the most challenging thing. I haven't used it again since.
I agree. I haven't even gone down that road. It just looks challenging, like you said. It's just,
well, once you get your head around it, it's not so bad. Like my hubby, that's what he does. He's organized and he can do these things, and he makes it all together on the screen, and then he'll send off and get his Bricklink order and then put his project together and whiz bang done. I wish I had that kind of ability to do that, but my brain just, I don't know. I can be quite a logical like thinker and stuff like that. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not just creative and arty and ditzy and whatnot. But when it comes to using programs like that, I just like it all seems back to front, like learning a foreign language.
Yeah, a lot of logistics, a lot of logistics using that program.
Yeah. So were you expecting that as an answer?
No, you did good. I liked it. Yeah, I liked it. I wasn't expecting that, but I like it. You did really in depth. Really in depth. I like that. And that's what, that's what this show's about. The folks want to know in depth. So I really, you're making this easy for me.
I hope I'm not making it too easy for you.
Yeah, you're making it easy, making my job easy. So tell us how important the Lego AFOL community is to you and your builds.
Okay. To me personally, the AFOL community is important. Not everybody in the AFOL community are nice people, but I try to be the people that I would like to be friends with in the community. So, I try and conduct myself with respect, and I embrace everyone who's new, encourage them. Like, even if I can see that, there's some failings in what they're doing, find a positive spin and encourage rather than discourage people. Like, sometimes I see the worst of what comes out in like any hobby community. Like every hobby community has its issues. But the AFL community, it seems to be a nexus of, you've got different people with differing opinions. You've got people who are purists that you can only do things this way and nothing else. You've got the collectors who think that they're better than everyone else because they have all the things. And then you have the people who create their own stuff, and some of them think that they're better than all the others. And I'm like, I have a foot in each one of the camps, sort of thing. I collect stuff. I create stuff. But I don't think I'm better than anyone else. I try to stay humble, and I hope that comes across to people.
Yeah, it does. It does. You're very motherly, with the AFOL community, including myself.
Yeah.
I reached out to you for help, and you were very receptive. With me asking, and you reciprocated, and so it's
Yeah.
And that is very appreciative from me, and I'm sure the others that you touch. Now, speaking with that, can you tell me what was the most memorable interaction you had with someone regarding your Lego hobby?
Okay. My most memorable interaction. Something actually happened on the weekend at the show. There was this little boy that came up, and he was looking at the Galactic Asteroid Rally display that we had. And he was looking at all the spaceships and stuff. And his dad was like trying to encourage him and say, look, you could build something small like this. He was being very negative, very, very putting himself down, not having very much confidence. And both me and Bailey were like trying to encourage him, you can do this, you can do this. And I pointed it out to him and said, look, I made this one, and I hadn't made anything like this before. And so, with a lot of encouragement, the little boy went over to the build area of the show, and he built a racer, and he handed it over. And Bailey looked at it and he's like, wow, this is better than what some of the adults have put together. And that kid sort of like walked away with like a, really proud. Yeah, with a new sort of bit of confidence, and you can see him over, trying and building other things, and whereas before he wasn't like trying at all. It's very self-defeating. And I've had experiences sort of similar to that in past at shows. Like a lot of like the really feel good stuff happens at shows, particularly with kids. Sometimes it's with adults, but particularly with kids, inspiring them to try, because so many of them think that you just build a set and that's it.
Yeah. That ain't it. Yeah, that's good. That's good that you boosted. Yeah.
And the thing is
good that you boosted.
When it comes down to it, it's mocking that really got me really into Lego. Before that, like before I saw Friends with all the girly colors that so many of the AFL community diss, because the Lego community is very male dominated, and the ones that aren't male, some of them like cry feminism a lot. The girly friends got me into Lego.
Imagine that.
Imagine that, friends got me into Lego, besides my brother dragged me into it, but friends and seeing how all the criticals and stuff really encouraged me to build. And if you've seen my stuff, I build very bright.
And we will find out just right now. Let's check out your stuff. Let me see here. I'm gonna share my screen.
Nice segue.
Yes.
I don't have his script. I don't know what comes next.
No script. All ad lib here. All ad lib. If you're just catching us, you're on the Icebox with Iceberg Bricks. Our guest today is Aussie Brick Chick. All right, so tell us about this build, what inspired it, and what challenge you faced when building it, what it means to you.
Okay, so these ones that you're looking at are Galactic Asteroid Rally. Our group display for QLUG. So when I start building these sorts of things, like I don't build spaceships, but these are not the first ones I've ever built. They're some of the last ones I built, but yeah, I'm not really into building spaceships, but I stretch myself creatively to do this. And these ones were actually built at a meeting that we had to put together the racetrack elements and to get people together to encourage them to build races. And so we had all this like random bits of Lego, like the randomest stuff you have ever seen, just this big pile. And a lot of it was stuff that Lego had given our group. So this is what some of that sort of stuff goes towards.
Okay.
So I bought a few little bits and pieces I knew may not necessarily be in that pile of Lego, like the cheese slope there, the trans-clear cheese slope that I've used for the cockpit, the one on the left. And yeah, I just picked through the pile and found interesting bits and pieces and worked from there. So Gark racers quite often use your snot pieces, so stud snot on top. So the studs on these particular bricks are on all sides, so you can stick things into them. So I've used, on the one on the left, I've used some Friends elements. You've got combs on the front. You got a purple glitter cone piece there on the front, creating the front of the racer. You've got some Friends mirrors on the side wings at the bottom there that are the same color of the cone, came from the same bag of elements. And if anyone's ever gotten like these little baggies of elements that come with certain sets, like I think Big Bang Theory had one that had like forks, like implements for eating with, but it had a whole bunch of other things as well. So this particular little baggie of items comes with like hairdryer and a mirror and combs and all sorts of different things. So I decided I would use those bits as parts of the ship. And then I just found other bits that sort of matched in with it. So that one's actually quite basic and simple. And then you just add like flames at the back for like jets and stuff.
Okay.
And the one on the right uses hinge clips, like the ones with like the little tongue and groove bit that snap together. I'm not going to get all technical with your terms, but that thingy that clicks into the thingy.
Right.
And then I've used snot bricks again down the middle of it, and so I've connected interesting shapes. So I would pick through and find a pair for either side of it, and then I found another sleek bit for the bit at the top.
Who shall I help you call?
Okay. Okay.
And yeah, and then you just add some stickers. So
okay, tell us about this next set that you have here, and I see that you changed up your colors a bit on these here. Tell us about this and what inspired it.
Some more Gark races, of course.
Mhm.
So Gark races can go from quite small to a bit bigger. The biggest can be 10 studs by 10 studs in any one direction, not counting the fuel trail, which is that bright neon trailing bit at the end. So
Gotcha.
with the one on the left, I was inspired by the color. Like, I love that color. It spoke to me, and so I picked out as many bits of that color that I could find, and I managed to find a bunch of things that sort of matched from side to side. So yeah, basically I just start from the middle and build my way out. The one on the right there, I found the gloved hands. What are they from again? You told me, didn't you?
Oh, that looks like Mr. Freeze's hands from his Mac,
Yeah, I think
from the Batman set.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I said, we get some random stuff in these piles of Lego, and yeah, I found Mr. Freeze's hands. So I saw those hands and I thought, that's an interesting shape for something that size. Because when you're building micro, you've got to look at the shapes and the colors and sort of get inspired by that rather than thinking the other way around. Like, you can, but I just find it easier to find something that's, you know, interesting that I can see potential in, and then I find other things that, you know, sort of match that potential, and something takes shape, and you end up with this.
Ah, okay. See that. See, let's get to a next set. Tell us about these two items here and what inspired these. See, what I do pick up on is that you don't, like, none of these look the same. I mean, virtually, they're the races, but none of these look the same. So tell us what
It's like you ask me to replicate the same thing over and over. I'm incapable of that. The one on the left there is actually the same as the previous photo without stickers. It's just from another angle. Like, I never noticed. But I can point out an interesting bit at the back there. I actually have flippers. You see the white flippers?
Yeah, I do.
White flippers as a detail. They came in a Lego Dimensions pack. And I don't play Lego Dimensions. I just bought them because I wanted to collect the minifigures, because I'm a minifigure collector. And I wanted to put Finn and Jake in my displays. So I had all these extra pieces that I wasn't going to use. Like, I wasn't going to make the other vehicles. I just wanted the minifigures. So I had some very interesting sort of unique pieces, and those were some of them. And I decided to put them on that particular racer. And the one on the right, I think those sort of, I'm no good at technical terms. You see that white piece that's sort of curved.
Right.
That was part of the same dimension set. There was some pieces of that. So most of the pieces of this ship are from that same set. So these two were actually made very similar time frame, and I had the trans blue shields in my little bin of interesting things, and yeah, I just fiddled around with things until I liked the shape. Basically, it's kind of, I guess, a bit like sculpting.
Yeah, I can see that.
Let's
see here. All right, let's see. How about these two? I see the Jake from Finn and Jake.
Yes, that's from another Dimensions set. So a lot of those pieces are from a Dimension set. So sometimes I will set myself a challenge. If I have pieces from a set where I've bought it because I wanted the minifigures, I'll sometimes try and build certain like projects just using that set as much as possible with as little extra other things as I can. It just turns it into a bit of a game, and stretches my creativity and techniques. So it pushes me to learn new things. So instead of doing the same thing over and over and over, you'll notice that there's like most of my builds, nothing looks like anything else. Like, other than like I might have a run of a color palette that's similar, but none of them will look anything like each other. It's more of an art thing for me, particularly with these sorts of builds, is that I'm just seeing what the Lego is saying it wants to be.
I see. Very, very creative.
Yeah. And the one on the right, yeah, same thing. I just find interesting bits. And yeah, I know, I'm pretty sure I frustrated Bailey because he's like, oh, you can make it better with this and this and this and this. And I'm like, nah. Looks great, but I don't have any of those pieces, and I'm not invested enough in this to make Bricklink orders. I'd rather just, see what the Lego wants to be, and that's what it's going to be for today.
Well done. All right, here comes the like what you said, like the change of colors, kind of make it more girl friendly.
Yes. I'd parted out a bunch of Lego Friends stuff. Plus, I'd also picked up some interesting like shapes and bits and pieces, like the bits on the front there that you can see, out of some of the bulk Lego that I've gotten over the years. And yeah, I just like played with the interesting bits. So you've got these leaf aspects here that are from elves. Some of these colors are very, very elves. Some of the pieces are very, very elves. And what else? Yeah, basically I just found like pairs of things because, spaceships are generally same from left to right. You don't usually have odd asymmetrical shapes very often. So yeah, I just worked on that and played with the colors and saw what worked and what didn't. They don't always come out like in one go. Sometimes I'll start building something, go to bed and sleep on it, and pick it up in a couple of days and find that final little bit to make it better. Anything like that.
That's pretty.
But these are the ones that little girl that didn't think she wanted to build spaceships or.
And you showed her how to do it.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Well done. I like it. Let's see here. All right, let's get into one of your bigger builds. Tell us about what we're seeing right now.
Okay, so this is Dinosaur Park. You'll see some of the things that I mentioned earlier. In the right-hand picture, you can see there's like a Velociraptor and a Roman Centurion. Well, that's Rory. And behind him is a Lego representation of the Pandorica from the Pandorica Opens on Doctor Who. You'll also notice that there's a TARDIS in shot.
I see that. Yeah.
Yeah. And right there in the background, you can see two figures with a crocodile that both seem to have blonde hair. One of them is Steve Irwin, the other one is Terry Irwin. So they're jumping a croc.
I see.
So there's lots of little like pop culture references in there. of things like I've either seen a minifigure and gone, oh, that reminds me of this person. Let's do something with that, and then a scene will evolve around from that. And sometimes it's just random stuff that comes out of my head, like on the left of the Indominus Rex and a whole bunch of smaller Gallimimus dinosaurs that it's chasing. But there's also humans in the way as well. So like there's like heaps and heaps of other little stories. That's what I like to do. What we like to do with our big displays.
Well, now, what challenges did you face with building this? Because now you got different ideas. How would you?
Okay. Well, this particular display, Dinosaur Park, evolved over about 4 years. We started off with really, really small, with just a handful of sets. So my son got for Christmas one year. So we went from that to investing in base plates and more elements and bits. So like you see like palm trees and stuff like that. All that amount of stuff didn't just sort of appear overnight. It took years of developing and collecting. But instead of like some people who collect it all and then make this one awesome thing and show it once and then it's done, we sort of developed it like as each show progressed. So we'd buy a bit more. So we started with something small. Then it sort of grew to like a table, 2 tables, and then more and more full. So
Gotcha.
as it stands at the moment, it does have some technical things that are a bit tricky, like the waterfall sometimes doesn't travel very well. We might want to redesign that into something different. And all the cliff faces, they just hang off on snot pieces. And sometimes they don't sit as straight as I would like them to. But at the point in time when we first started building this, we're novices to Lego, and we just had to go with what we had access to. So we didn't have access to things like burps, those big rock pieces that a lot of people use as like their skeleton of their mountain sides. So without pieces like that, or knowledge of pieces like that, we just went with what we had. So hubby started building a different style of cliff face that was more of a technique-y kind of thing, but we hadn't sort of gotten to the point of doing that all the way across yet.
Gotcha.
Because one part, you can see the waterfall in this one. So one part, the front table is lower than the top table.
Okay.
So you're dealing with the logistics of making sure that the top table is exactly the same height every time. So we actually have the back table is actually on its bases are, well, actually both tables, our bases are door, like an internal door, because it's light. And you don't have to worry about things like walking and stuff like that, because it's all pretty reinforced along the sides. So and the back one is also a door, but we've got some risers that were measured to, we measured everything to as precise as we could. And then we've got some of our original reinforcing, like that was underneath it to begin with, on top of that.
Okay.
So so it's like a custom sort of framing, I guess, for the actual thing. So we don't have to build a solid everything at the back. It's like a structure of wood, and all of that
kind of makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, and all of that goes into some custom built crates. So because we traveled with it so much, at one point we're just like, well, we've reached the limitations of what we can achieve without crating it. So by having it on the board, on the doors, and being able to slide it into a crate, it meant that we could leave things set up and just take off the things that were really delicate that would fall apart in transit, and it saved us a lot of time. So it meant that we could spend a lot more time at home developing and making a more technical, more interesting build. Before this, it was all pretty flat, and we couldn't achieve anything major with it.
Okay.
So you'll see with the waterfall, I've actually got, it's a mix of techniques. It uses pieces that are connected into, how do I explain this? It's really difficult. What you're looking at there, the base of that cliff face is actually behind the waterfall there, and it's just a plate. It's like a 16 by 16 plate. And I've built up outwards from the plate. And that plate is attached at the top, as you can see on the left side picture there. It's attached with some hidden plates that change direction, modified plates. So it attaches at the top of, you know, the flat surface and hangs down. And the waterfall is built into that. Like that piece there is actually all studs and chi pieces and some 1x2 clear, trans-clear plates that help to just pull it all together so that it's more solid. And then at the bottom there, you can see there's sort of like a bit of a white. Those are actually Technic bricks. And so each one of the sections where all the studs are together, they're all interlocked with one another, and then they're all pushed in, studs down into the Technic bricks at the bottom, and then those Technic bricks attach to the plate behind it.
Gotcha.
And it's all very nice and tightly packed, so it generally, usually, if it doesn't come apart in transit, it sits in there nice and snugly, and it looks really good.
Right.
So, and that's sort of something that I figured out and decided to do myself. This is not something that I've copied from anyone that I've seen that I'm aware of. And then you've got, you know, all your greenery and stuff around the outside of it.
That's a very good technique with the waterfall. That's a very good technique. Like I said, it's detailed down to the last piece, so it's very detailed.
Yes. And when I built it, I had no idea of what's not, you know, it's not building or anything like that was. I was like, let's put the things together in ways that make it work.
Yeah. Looks nerve-wracking there, you know, like I said, the whole technique and how you have it, sitting together. It's just, you know.
Yeah, because that whole plate comes off in transit, so we don't actually leave it on there. We have to take it off, and because it's handled a lot more, it's more likely to actually break. It's ironic in that way.
And that's smart. You know, that's smart. You take it off that way. It's not a problem during transit. So I mean, that's
yeah. At least you're not losing things. It's, you know, it's not getting damaged until I put my I'm uncoordinated sometimes, so it's usually when I pick things up, the things end up broken.
I got you. So tell us about this part of your Dinosaur Park.
Yeah, you're looking at another scene from Dinosaur Park here. I'm looking at trying to. Okay. All right, so we got two pictures. My brain was like going, "Why is that not?" Don't mind me. It's not that I'm tired. I was just like forgetting that I was looking at two pictures because they almost look like they blended into each other. So you've got on the right-hand side there, you can see one of our many T-Rexes. I think we own 4, not counting the Indominus. And hubby designed. Hubby designed the fence because he's like, oh, we have some stories within the park that are Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, kind of those storylines. And sometimes we have stories that are you know mixed and interesting. I'll explain the one on the right in a minute. So the one on the left, he designed the fence. He sat there in Lego digital designer because I'm completely incapable, and he designed the fence. And I'm going to come clean and admit something. Those black things are not Lego. Okay, let me explain though. We when he originally designed it, we used black rods, and they kind of sort of worked, but they weren't perfect, and it was kind of annoying that they weren't perfect. Like they looked like they worked properly in Lego Digital Designer, and this is one of the failings of working on a computer instead of doing it in physical. He ordered up all the parts, and we made it, and the first time that the fence went up, it had the bars. He left the bars behind when we went to the next show. So we had this fence and no bars for the fence.
Oh.
So this is one of the many interesting show stories. I'll probably bore some people, but no. Maybe you'll like go, oh, it's not just me that has these things happen to me. We had to try and figure out what we were going to do because pulling down the fence, it would look stupid, and we really didn't have the time or the energy to try and do something different on the fly. So we're like going, okay, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? And I'm like trying not to have a panic attack, and I'm like going, hang on. I'm sure that I've seen something somewhere. What about J-Car? J-Car might have something. And my brother's like, yeah, I'm sure I've seen something that might work. So went over to J-Car and I found this stuff. It's called, I can't remember. It's basically for putting around the outside of wiring, and then you shrink it. And you shrink it onto the wiring, and it insulates it. So
okay.
It's sort of like a thin tube of plastic, almost like a straw, but a lot finer.
Okay.
And it has a little bit of give. So I looked at it and went, yeah, that looks about right. I reckon we can make this work. And so I grabbed, a few lengths of it. The J-Car happened to be like across the road and down a little bit, so we could walk there. So I like walked over there. I'm like, gotta find something. So I found this stuff and like, yeah, I'm gonna make this work. And it wasn't too terribly expensive or anything like that. So it's like, if it doesn't work, it's no biggie. But roll the dice. Let's see if we can make this work. So we got this, and we like started gently sort of putting it into all the little clips, going, oh, please work, please work, please work.
Right.
And the effect, as you can see, like to an untrained eye, you probably wouldn't even spot the fact that it's not Lego. But if you look very carefully on the screen, you can see like this little white writing on parts of it.
Right.
Yeah. It's not Lego, and you have an exclusive. I've never ever admitted this out loud to anyone before, and Hobbies
Let's
probably
hear it. Let's hear it.
Yeah, exclusive. Yeah. So we just cut the bits like you can see on the right hand side where we've got the lock, where the dinosaur's coming through. We've just cut it so that it fits that space perfectly.
Right.
And yeah, this went to shows all year, and it actually helped to keep the fence together better than the rods did. So we kept it. And then in the picture on the right, you'll see Emmett is being Owen in the scene from Jurassic World where he's training the raptors. So because Emmett is voiced by the same actor that played Owen in the movie Jurassic World, Hubby decided to do a character swap. So the spot on the display where Emmett was is now Owen playing Emmett, and Emmett's playing Owen. So anyone who's seen Jurassic will recognize this scene where he holds his hands up and he's like, dominating them.
Yeah, I remember. I remember that. I remember that.
Yes. So Emmett's doing that.
Ah. So tell us about these two scenes in your park. I see you got the water tower going on here, and you got more greenery, which pops out the colors and kind of hides some of the dinosaurs that you have in here.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like I was saying earlier, the greenery is sort of grown over time. I just keep on finding interesting bits and add more to it. Haven't done anything this year though, but you'll find that there are like interesting pieces like dinosaur tails in green that are part of the plants at the front on the right and the left. What else have we got in here? You can sort of see in the distance on the right-hand one, there's like a velociraptor. That's actually paying homage to a scene from the original Jurassic World movie where they're ambushed in the long grass by raptors.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, I've got that. Got that scene. It's not supposed to be recreated, but just like a little nod to. And what else is in it? You can buy in it. You can just barely see that Doctor Who reference I was talking about earlier in the top. The astronaut-y looking guy with the skeleton face.
Oh yeah. It's a good cameo. Very good cameo. All right, so tell me about these two scenes here more in your dinosaur park.
Okay, the one on the right is Dinosaur Park. The one on the left is Dinosaur Park. The one on the right is actually just another little mock that I've made. I'll talk about the one on the left first. So you can sort of see at the back there where the cliff face seems to be different for a while, and then it's the way that I was explaining it with the plate. So hubby had started rebuilding the cliff faces for me to look different, but I think it looks better, but you can also see the exposed wood. We're going to have to eventually paint the wood so that it blends in a bit more seamlessly, because it used to be the hanging plates all the way along, but they were so precarious. Sometimes if you like bump them, they'd jump off.
Yeah.
You change things up as you do. And I'm looking at this. Oh, so this is back when we had the dinosaur train. So I actually built a dinosaur train. I'm not a train person. And with a little bit of help from my brother, I built a dinosaur train. So the front of it is based off from a few years back now. Lego tower box. It had pictures on it of dinosaurs. So I think they brought dinosaurs back again recently on one of their like big boxes of like random Lego pieces that you can buy. And so we actually built all of the dinosaurs from the pictures on the box. There were no instructions. You just have to look at it and figure it out. So we figured it out, and I used some of the elements of that, like the head and the torso, like upper torso bits for the front of the train, and then I built a train engine behind it. My brother helped me build a tender to go behind it to carry the battery pack, so that it could be powered. And then I made some carriages to go behind it. And on the last carriage, it had a tail.
Oh.
So you can't see that in the picture, but you can imagine it. If you see the baby, there's a baby T-Rex on top of one of the buildings at the back there. It's that kind of style. And you can also see that I've included some Duplo dinosaurs. So we try to include dinosaurs from all types. So we've got Duplo, we've got Jurassic World, we've got Dino Attack. Got some of the classic dinosaurs from the very beginning of the dinosaur series. And we have the Lizard Man is like the mascot from the minifigure collectible series. So you can't quite see him, but there's an area behind that brown Duplo dinosaur that's like a photographic area for people to have a photo with the mascot from the park.
Oh, I see.
And there's a bit of a, you know, this part is like the tourist park part. The back table is more the wild and research kind of area. The front park's sort of for tourists where it's safer, and you have all the like the herbivores and stuff like that, so people won't get, you know, technically won't get hurt. And then you've got some pterosaurs flying over, like in Jurassic World, how they all escape. And then we've got like a food courty kind of area with some themed like little restaurant-y type things, and souvenir shop and stuff like that. So that's the left picture. On the right picture, this is something that I created at home because Dinosaur Park was packed away. I was wanting to encourage people to want to do sig fig trays and stuff like that. So I created like a little mini sort of one plate of, you know, Dinosaur Parky kind of jungle. And this particular picture was actually for a competition. Now I'm looking at it. It was when Go for Bob had a competition, the story of the chair and why his chair looked like it had, you know, been like eaten or something.
Okay.
I don't know how long you've been watching the AP stream for, but he has a chair that is falling apart, and everyone would, like, you know, make fun of him and say, "Oh, why don't you get a new one?" He's like, "I have a new one, but this one's comfortable." And so we did a, you know, do a mock of the you know, why is the chair like it is, and mine was that, you know, velociraptors had eaten it.
That's a
See
good,
the chair
that's a
in
good joke.
the frame there.
Right. You said
And
right over here.
And the other sig fig was my husband. That's me, my sig fig and my hubby's sig fig.
Yeah, I see that. I see that. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's a beardy man.
That's a nice little touch with the chair. I like that.
Yes.
I like that. So this is here another one of your big projects, right? Tell us about this. What's the name of this build here?
Okay, so this is Micropolis. I started building Micropolis because we went to Brickvention, and I built about 4 or 5 blocks for that particular show. It started off, we were only gonna make one each. Then I got sick of waiting for hubby to make his, so I made his, and then I made a few more. Yeah, it's an addiction. And so I then when we came back, then I encouraged our group. No, it was before we came back, actually. I encouraged our group to start as a group collaboration before I went to Brickvention, actually, not after. So I hadn't actually seen a big city all put together yet, and I'm like going, we need to do this. And so I was encouraging other people. So we had our show the following weekend. Oh yeah, 2016 was a crazy year for shows. We did Brickvention one weekend, and then the weekdays, and then another show. So we came home on a plane Monday, and we left on Friday on a bus. So we had Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then we were back at a show again.
Wow.
So our blocks went, yes, just about. So our blocks then went on to start the collaboration for our group collaboration last year. So what you're looking at here is actually mine since then. So it was our group collaboration last year, and I made so many blocks. So I was like, well, I might as well just make a few more and then make it my own display. So I did.
Okay.
And we decided to give Dinosaur Park a bit of a break, and the plan was supposed to be that we would work on it, but between the not having very much space and not having very much time and not having as much money as you like, it's just, every Apple story. You've either got lots of money and no time, or lots of time and no money, or you don't have the space if you have both.
Mm-hmm.
So not much has been done to Dinosaur Park, but and some of the kids were like, where's the dinosaurs, Mummy? Where's the dinosaurs? Because we didn't take it to the Gold Coast, and I felt so bad. But yeah, so I built like my whole city of my own. And as you can see, is weird and wacky and very colorful because I love color.
Very colorful, very awesome.
Like, yeah, I'm glad you appreciate it. Not everyone does. Because you're a creative type, you can appreciate it. So I sometimes I'll build something with a purpose in mind, like the hospital. I started with the windows. They're actually windows from a train, I think. So I started with windows and like, oh yes, that looks good. And then I found other white pieces that sort of help to tie it in together. And it's like, okay, all right, what are colors that give you the idea of hospital or health? And white and red are very iconic. So this was a very deliberate build. The hospital one on the left there that has a helicopter at the top. And it's scale-wise, it's a bit different than some people who build Micropolis. And like I said, I like to push the boundaries of what is considered, with the rules. So there's a little bit of flexibility, but some people get a bit rigid about how things should be done. And so I got my hands on a lot of those sorts of windows. So you'll find that those sorts of windows are used over and over again in some of my builds, but not all of them. I also use bright colors. So the one on the right of the hospital that's white and red is my Scooby-Doo Children's Hospital. So it's all bright colors, but Scooby-Doo colors.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah,
so you'll notice that there are parts from a Scooby-Doo set in there. So this is a case of me challenging myself to use a particular color palette. And if certain pieces didn't come with that set, I would find other pieces that fit in that color palette, colorway, and use them to just sort of pad it out. So I have a more of a creative process than some people I know. Lego does encourage lots of different kinds of thinkers because it is creative and logical. You come across very, very opposing personalities, but we all love the little bricks, so it all works out well. Picture on the right, you can see in the right hand corner my airport. My airport is probably my favorite part of my city. You sort of saw it. Yeah, you would have seen it on the previous picture. That I have a big airport, and I started. What inspired me to build that one was that I found the tile of a helicarrier of all things on Bricklink. I came across it. Like I was scrolling and looking for other things in printed tiles, and I saw this. And I'm like, whoa, that could be a runway. And it's like, well, it is a runway, but be a runway in Micropolis scale. It's not perfect, but it's right enough that people will see and go, oh yeah. So it started off with that printed tile and the concept of I wanted to do an airport, and then I just sort of drew on all of my memories of airports, and I also got some expert advice from a guy who helps design airports, and looked up things like lengths of runways and I'm forgetting technical terms now, The bits that you go from where the planes sort of dock in with the airport and the aprons, I think. Is it aprons? Yeah. Somebody's gonna watch this and they're going to correct me. I'm not very good at technical terms. I'm like my mum. Sometimes I call studs dots.
Get the dots,
And,
the dots.
Yeah. And yeah, so it sort of went on from there, and same sort of process, creative. So I'd find interesting bits, like I use a tail piece of a plane for the top of the airport's terminal. If you've seen that, and just built industrial stuff around that. But the rest of this picture on the right that you're looking at is mostly all residential, and I'll admit that some of it was built as filler because I wanted to fill the space with something.
Yeah,
so
yeah. It's colorful. It works. It works. It's colorful.
It's quality filler. It's quality filler.
Yeah,
and because I'm not afraid of doing things a bit different, you'll find that they're all colorful and weird and wacky colors, because I love my rainbow of colors.
Gotcha. Here's a closer look at the Scooby-Doo hospital.
Yeah, closer look at the hospital. So you'll notice that I don't always use glass in my windows, and sometimes that's not really 100% necessary. If you like bending the rules like me, yeah, bending rules is fun. No, sometimes it's just a case of economically, I either can't be bothered, can't afford to source pieces just to finish something a bit nicer. But it still looks good enough. And
it does.
Kids, when they look at it, they honestly don't care. They go, "Oh yeah, that's a building." They don't judge it.
A window.
Yeah, exactly. A window's a window, regardless of whether there's glass in it. So yeah, my kids' hospital has no glass in the windows, but the shape and the form, and like I just sit there and play with the shapes until the Lego finally sits in a way that I look at it and go, yeah, that's done. And it's like Lego sculpting.
Yeah, I mean, like adults, we just put so many rules into stuff, and we just suck the fun out of it.
And I think that sometimes people get a bit too serious about this whole Lego business and how things should be. It's fine to feel like that, but I'm not a person that impresses.
So tell us about these.
I'll do Lego my way. We'll all be happy.
Oh yeah, definitely. And later, I mean, never let somebody suck the fun out of your enjoyment. So tell us about these installments. These installments you have in your city. So tell us about these installments.
Okay, yeah. So on the left, you can see my hospital. So we've already talked about that. It's got a little helicopter in it. You can see the helicopter better in this picture. So it uses some very simple parts. There's a Technic brick, Technic pin thingy, Duty Lackey. It has a clear cheer slope for the front cockpit, and then it has another little piece that looks sort of like a T piece that clicks into a grey Technic pin that's in the hole of the Technic brick. So that's pretty much how I represent all my helicopters in the city. Are all built in a similar style. They might use slightly different pieces, but that's pretty much a common way of building something along that lines. I looked at what other people did, and then I looked at what Lego I had and went, oh, I can't do that. So I just adjusted. That's the story of my life. Can't always afford to buy new parts. So sometimes I envy people who can. Just design a project and follow it through and buy other bits. I work with what I have. So
Yeah, because you're a master builder, so you're innovative. So.
Oh yeah, well, this has sort of been the way that I've built from the beginning, is just shove things together until they make sense or fall apart. One of the two will happen.
Mm-hmm.
So the next one to the right, that looks kind of like a robot. That's black and red. That's actually the top of a building that's in my city, and it is deliberately supposed to look like a robot. I found pieces that decided it wanted to look robot-y, so it looks robot-like.
It does.
I don't always have control over what the end result is. Like, sometimes I'll start building one thing and the Lego's like, nah, we're gonna be this. This is
Right.
why I used to frustrate my art teacher when I was in high school, because I couldn't like plan a project from start to finish and end up with what I originally intended to build or create would be completely different from the beginning proposal. The end result would be 180 completely different.
Creative
I
juices
found
start flowing.
Yes. Yeah, so I found interesting bits and just found more of the same. I think these pieces came out of from the Lego movie sets, if I remember rightly. And then the next one along that's just like an office block type thing. Again, playing with textures, colors, and just, putting things together until I was happy with them. And then I found like these slopey bits and I thought they looked interesting. So I found a way to incorporate them into the outer shell of the building too.
Okay.
Just to make it look a bit different and not all boxy. When I first started building Micropolis, a lot of stuff was very boxy and it was very annoying to me because that's not sort of the aesthetic that I was wanting to portray.
Right.
And then that green and white building at the top there, I don't think I ended up actually putting that one in the city. Like, that was actually a progress shot. That the bottom half of it, the white part of it, I ended up keeping. The top part, I'm pretty sure I changed. I can't be 100% sure on what I changed. I think that ended up being my music store, so it probably has more of a different color in it. Red or something. Or white. Might have been a white. But it has like a guitar on the front of it. So.
Okay.
But yeah. Pretty much the same sort of process each time. It's very rare that I plan something can follow through and actually end up with what I planned.
I think like you said, you let your creative juices flow and it just your last building don't look like your last building.
Take over and whisper in my ears. No, I mean angels, right? Angels, yes. My muses whisper in my ear and say, "No, you want to make this."
The angel and the devil.
Yeah. I don't know. They say idle hands, right?
Yeah, idle hands. Yeah.
Got to keep them busy. So on the left, you've got a building that I sort of started just playing with some bricks, and it came out to be that. And I thought, I'll make that a bank. So I stuck money on the front of it, and that's a bank now.
It looks great, yeah. I picked up on it, especially when you put that dollar on it.
It's simple. It communicates what it is. It works.
Right. Ooh,
The one on the left is a progress shot. So you were asking if I shared progress. I do share progress most often on Instagram, sometimes on Facebook. So if you're not a Facebook friend, I'm sorry. Usually it's just like my Lego friends that are my close Lego friends that are, I've developed friendships with that become my Facebook friends. But I try and share stuff on Instagram. I Instagrammed a lot before I was doing YouTube stuff. So The one on the right is an ancient history museum. So I started off with a sarcophagus piece and grabbed a bunch of other gold colored pieces that matched it. I'm like, I'm going to make something with this. Going to make something with this. I'm going to make something with this. And then this is what happened. So, yeah.
It worked out, though. It looks great.
It worked out. And I like how it has the domed piece on the top.
Yeah.
Which sort of juxtaposes from the little pyramid-y shapes on top of the sarcophagus. I really loved ancient Egypt stuff when I was a kid, so I had to do something with these sarcophagus that I had when I parted out. I think it was some Scooby-Doo kits.
Ah.
Yeah.
Very well done. Very well done.
It's been a while since I made that one. Well, it feels like an age, but it probably wasn't.
Wow.
Ah.
Tell about this bright blue one.
Bright blue one, yes. So is that one finished as it was? No, that's a progress shot again. So this one, I'm trying to remember how I made it. The top part of it is like these trans like blue plates, which are actually quite relatively rare, but we got them in some of our lug support one year. And I was lucky to grab a bunch, not enough to do a major project, but just enough to do a few things with it. And I was like, oh, these things are so cool. I've got to do something with it. And when I used them, I had no idea these things were worth so much money or so rare. It was crazy. I looked it up after somebody pointed out to me that, why would you do that with those? I was like, what? What? Like, look at Bricklink. They're like a ridiculous amount of money per plate. I'm like, really? Really? I looked it up and I nearly had. So there's like, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's 6 of them in there. I think they're worth like $10 each. Like, it's crazy.
Anyway. That's pretty cool.
Started off with those plates. I loved the color, and I had a bunch of other stuff in like trans blues. I was like, I'm going to make something. And this is what came out. So you got some modified plates. You know, the ones that sort of change the angle for snot building. So you've got a combination of modified plates and tiles for the bottom half of the building. And yeah, all sort of in blues. And since then, I think I've added like a swirly vortex pattern. So I call this one the water building.
Okay.
And when it is in situ on the actual thing, it has like a little bit of like a water area at the foot of it as well. So it's one of those things where you can't appreciate it as well in a photo, but
in a photo,
it captures the light nicely.
Yeah, I understand that.
And the one on the right, I had a lot of black in my bins, and I had these tinted windows, so I wanted to do something with them. So I started off and like playing with sequencing and patterns and stuff, and until I got to I looked at how many things I had and try and figure out how far I could go without running out of bricks, basically. So it was a little bit of trial and error. And so I think you'll notice that I've got a layer that has like Technic beams in it too, just for something interesting to break it up a little bit. And yeah, so it's like all monochrome, and then you've got these the contrast of the lime green trees at like the front entrance of it, which makes the trees really pop. And then the black, like the black tower, no matter where you put it, it stands stands out as something very different from all the bright stuff that's in my city.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Hmm.
Tell us about these 2 installments here you have.
Okay. All right, I'll start with the right. The one on the right is the souvenir shop from my Dinosaur Park. I don't say my, it's actually mine and my husband's because he helps. But I built a lot of it in the beginning, and he sort of started helping once he got the Lego bug. It took him a while to get into building stuff, and I'm like still trying to encourage him to just let loose a bit more. And so I had a bunch of, I think this was the one that I built using one of my Christmas presents, because I'm not a set builder. So quite often I'll build a set and then all of a sudden it'll be in parts. Oops, it's in parts. I'm going to make something else. So I had a bunch of stuff in from, it was a creator house, and I used a lot of that. And then I had some, see the blue tiling there from, what was it from? The double-decker couch, because I bought a bunch of those to part out. And yeah, I built a souvenir shop. So I just play with shapes and forms and so forth, and don't necessarily worry about architectural, this is how something should look like. I build a bit more like maybe a kid would, a bit more imaginative. So I just keep playing with the shape until I'm happy with it. If something doesn't fit quite right, I'll pull it off and try again. And on the top of that one, you saw in earlier photos, it has like a little baby T-Rex that's bright red. So it grabs your attention, then you see the rest of it.
Yeah.
And I designed it initially so that I could put lighting in it, but I just never got around to doing it. So it actually has like an access at the back to be able to put lighting inside. And inside there's actually like internals, like it has flooring and it has displays with little baby dinosaurs, has like a front desk where you bring up your sail. It has details that most people wouldn't even see, and that's why I was going to light it up so that it would highlight that. But one day might get around to it, but I'll probably redesign the whole thing by that point and make it different. As you do. The one on the left is the bowling alley. I actually made this for my husband, and it became part of the Micropolis city. I built it for him because he loves bowling. Yeah. And I was like, honey, I'm going to make you a bowling alley. He's like, okay. He didn't believe me. And so, this is one where I had a beginning premise and I followed through and tried to make it as close to what I meant it to be, based on like bowling alleys that I've seen over here. And it has like, steps and a little garden out front too. So that one had a few iterations of different colors and stuff until I found something that I liked. And then I showed him, he's like, yeah, that's good.
Oh, that's good. That looks great. It does. It does a lot of detail for a small build too.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure that that's what the final build looked like, but it's the gist of it.
Okay. All right, let's get to this part of your city. You have another installment, and then you have your airport.
Yes. So the one on the left was, again, random pieces of Lego that Lego gave our lug, and nobody wanted to build anything with. So I was like, okay, challenge accepted.
Right. So like, Lego.
I'm going to do something with this. And so I just, put stuff together and add a few other pieces I had until the carrot building was born. It's called the carrot because it's orange.
Well done. Well done. Looks great. Yeah. Looks like that
Yeah,
one in
so
Dubai.
hmm?
I said, looks like that building in Dubai.
It does?
Yeah, a little bit.
I'll take that as a compliment. At least I think it's a compliment, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I built that before I got into like the architecture serious stuff. So like I hadn't really looked at a lot of architecture to get inspired to build things certain ways. So I would go with no preconceived notions of how something would look, and it's sort of it's good because it doesn't like make you think, oh, it's not good enough, oh, I can't do this. You know, it makes it a more positive experience. Well, in my experience anyway. Can't speak for everybody. And yeah, on the right you can see my airport. You can also see my canals from the behind of it. Right. One of the things that I changed up at the last show, because you know I don't have room to do stuff at home, was you can see along the canals there's like this section that's really bright magenta, and the rest of it's all sort of a light blue, almost white color. I've changed it all to the light blue instead of the magenta because I didn't have enough magenta to do the whole thing. I would have loved to have made it a complete pink canal. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. But yeah. So I changed that up. Looks a lot more uniform. I'm a lot more happier with that now. And I talked a bit about my airport earlier, but you can sort of see more of what I was talking about earlier. I used the helicarrier tiles. I saw pictures of Micropolis scaled airplanes on Flickr, and it didn't have instructions. I just looked at it and went, okay, how can I make that? So I grabbed together different pieces and I just kept working with them until I figured it out.
Okay.
Figured it out, and
well done.
And then I was like, this is too hard for, you know, people shouldn't have to figure these things out for themselves every time. So I sort of did a video and showed people how mine were put together so that they can have like a point of reference to figure out how they want to do it.
Yeah, but you're building an extraordinary build, so you know that's expected to come with it.
Yeah, it is a pretty like large scale project, this part of the Micropolis city, because the airport is actually to the scale of the smallest runway that you can find, like Google, you know, the world's smallest runway. So based on what Micropolis scale stud to stud measurement is, that is the equivalent to the smallest runway in the world. So technical.
Yeah, very technical, very technical.
I have seen somebody do a really, really good Micropolis airport before, but its scale seems a bit off. Like their runway is not very large at all. Like they've made the sacrifice of it being accurate so that they can have something that looks really epic. Like they have like an international airport type thing. It's a lot bigger scale than what I built. Mine's regional, small. So like think of like a small little dinky, you know, airport in the middle of, you know, nowhere. That's sort of a terminal.
Okay.
So you're looking at more of my city here. You can see in the left-hand picture, you can see the bowling alley in situ. So you can see it looks pretty much the same. It's just dressed a bit differently. And you can see, that other building that was like white and green earlier, you can see it's next to the bowling alley, just right of the bowling alley. It's a music store, and yeah, it's white and red. I was trying to remember what it changed to. So quite often I'll use minifig accessories as like visual cues to let people know what a thing is. So that one has like a guitar on top of it.
Yeah,
and you
I
can
see that. Yep.
In the right-hand picture, you can see the Japanese garden that I was talking about earlier too.
Yeah, yeah, I see,
Right
yeah.
in the middle there. And yeah, lots and lots of colorful builds. Was
Yeah.
there anything in particular you wanted to know more about?
Tell us about, I don't think we looked at that, let me see. I don't think, the build that you have right there on the right with the red and yellow building, it sits center of your right there by the canal.
Chicken shack.
The chicken shack. Is that like a real thing, or that's something that you made up?
No, that's something from out of my imagination, but draws on
Okay.
real concepts. So people say it looks like McDonald's, and I was like, no, it's not McDonald's. I'm
Yeah.
putting a chicken on it. Wait, you can't tell me it looks like McDonald's, but it's wrong. No, it's the chicken shack.
The chicken shack. All right.
I,
And what
I,
about the what
yeah, I
about the
tend to.
blue building in the back?
Which blue building?
The skyscraper next to the orange
Oh,
one.
the
It sits
skyscraper. That's infinity blue. It again uses the train windows, but it was something that came in like all the random stuff that Legos gives out. Like, so we get stuff at events, and because I do all the events, I get something every time I go to it, like everyone else. But because I go to more than everyone else, I tend to amass more of this random stuff. So people weren't interested in these windows, so I managed to score quite a number of them. I was like, I can do something with this. Yes, rubbing hands. And I had some plates that were in sort of a complementary blue color, and it just sort of grew from there. And I worked more and refined the finer details of it. And just by like doing the windows one way and then inverting them and putting them the other way, you can actually create quite interesting contrasting floors. So it doesn't look like it's all just one big box.
Right.
Yes.
Very
You're learning.
innovative.
No.
Yes, I'm gonna pick your brain. I mean, I am. Yes, these here are two closer shots to what we were just looking at, as I see.
Yeah.
How about the what's the small little building right next to your hospital, with the white top on it?
It's actually not white. That's like a light azure color, like really, really, really light blue. It's kind of a rare color. Again, I end up with lots of random, I hate to say it, crap. I end up with random crap and really, really rare and obscure colors that you can't match with things. And sometimes you end up with things that are like wedge shapes, or roof lines that are like the left and not the right, and the right and not the left. So you can't pair them up. So you got to get really creative in using them. So that roof line actually uses vehicle fenders.
Oh.
And cheap slopes.
I see. Yeah. Oh, wow. Wow, wait a minute. You have the Statue of Liberty in your build. How did you put that in?
One of my friends went over to America, and he actually bought that back as a souvenir for me.
Ah, very nice. Very nice touch. I like it. I do.
Decided that Lady Liberty would be in my harbor.
Right.
So
nice little Easter egg. That's a very nice Easter egg. Yeah.
Yeah. I have lots of little things for people to like see and notice and go, ooh.
Right. Oh wow. I like it. So tell us about your this is your signature. I think you're into like making spaceships. So I see this star.
Ice baby. This is like Ice Bake's thing. This is ice, something ice.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, oh, now I noticed. I never noticed before. Oh, yeah, I noticed all the time. Okay, I bought a bunch of Elsa's Frozen Castle sets for the minifigures because I make jewelry. Sometimes I buy sets for the minifigures and then I use the bricks in my builds. So this was, in this instance, this was one of the things that I built with the extra bricks. So I set myself a challenge. We had a competition for one of our lug mates for Q Lug, where you had to build a spaceship. And this is the first spaceship I ever attempted. Before I did like the Asteroid Rally, this is like a few years ago now. And I set myself a challenge of only using the pieces from those particular sets. So you'll notice that there's stickers from that set, there's tiles from that set, there's plates from that set. I think I might have added maybe one or two little things extra, but that was it.
Okay. Oh.
Everything else is found in that particular set. So, so the idea being, the concept behind it would be, this is what Elsa would create if she was to make a space cruiser out of ice, and it be a real thing that could go and do things. So like,
I dig it.
magic.
I dig it. Yeah, I dig it. I dig it. Yeah.
Oh, I trust you dig it, Mr. Ice.
So we have the Queensland Lego user group, and we have the Dinosaur Park. All right. And you told us a little bit about Q Lug and your role in it. How has Q Lug molded your Lego career?
I think being a part of a lug that tours so much, it has sort of really pushed me to develop and not stagnate. And being someone that's trying to encourage and guide, new people that, this is all new to them. They've not done it before. Don't be afraid. Try, get in, build, create. And being very nurturing in that respect has it's been really good for me, like having that responsibility. And I've always sort of been like the face, because our other admin doesn't like to share his like picture as his Facebook profile. And so I was the one that took it for the team. I always have my face as my Facebook profile, so that people had somebody that they could go to. So when I go to shows, even when it's not our shows, I get random people come up and say, "Hey, Sheree," and I'm like, "Okay, I don't know who you are." I'm like thinking in my head, "Hi, great to see you."
Celebrity, yeah, celebrity.
It's not quite celebrity, but it's sort of like a, this is a person that I feel like I know, even though I really don't know them. I suppose that's kind of like but within like hobby circles, and I'm still not used to it, not even after 4 or so years. And sometimes it's weird when I go and say hi to someone that I recognize from online, and they look through me like I'm nobody. I'm like, oh, okay, fine. I have a badge here that's on me that says who I am. You don't even have to guess my name. It's right there, and I know that you know me. That's online communities, boy.
Yeah, it's and you know what, they're better for it having you as the spokesperson, because you're so personable too.
I hope so, because Jeff, whilst he's a lovely man and he does a great job of ambassador, he's not an overly social kind of person, and I'm not an overly social person, but this has forced me to be more social, so it's a good thing.
You do a great job. Yeah, you do a great job. So the Dinosaur Park. The Dinosaur Park, is it going to be your marquee project where you can merchandise from? Because I see you got this T-shirt here.
Yeah, I actually designed that. I actually designed that one myself. So I took a picture of a T-Rex and I turned in a silhouette in Photoshop. and I cut it all out because, you know, I wasn't fancy. I didn't like take it in a light box like normal people. I painstakingly cut it out of a picture I'd taken, and yeah, so I did merge a bit of the original type of design at the bottom there with all the like the palm trees, but the rest of it is like all my own stuff. So not 99.99% all me. And
that's awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Originally, I just made this design because I was like, wow, we should make shirts so that we can wear, so that people can see that we're the Dinosaur Park people.
Yeah.
Because quite often we're not near our display because we sell our jewelry at shows to help fund our hobby because not everyone's made of money.
No.
You know, it helps us together. So, like I said, sometimes I buy the sets for the minifigures and then I use the other parts for my project. So, or we'll buy parts for the project and use the minifigures, vice versa. So, it's a way of supporting my hobby so that I can get to this point. Without doing that aspect of it, I probably wouldn't be as developed with projects as I am.
I got you. Yeah.
So yeah. I never really intended to promote them as something that people wanted to buy, but when people saw them, like, they're like, "Oh, that's cool. Can I have a shirt?"
Merchandising.
Like,
definitely merchandising.
So these ones you can get on Redbubble. You can buy your own. And if you buy your own, I get a tiny kickback, and if I get to a certain point of selling enough of them, I might actually be able to buy some Lego.
Yeah, and then make more creations. That's what it's all about. You know, you got to support your local artists. You know, you got to support your local artists.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know all about artists.
Yep, a little bit.
Hey,
so
you
folks,
have a pretty cool tee too.
I got a what?
You have a pretty cool tee too.
Yeah, I try a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, stop being so modest. So
all right, folks, this is
Are you selling those t-shirts? Are you selling those t-shirts? Can we all be Iceberg?
I don't think I can sell them because I bought them at a high price. So, I mean, you know, so there's probably no return for me if I bought them because ain't nobody gonna.
No, you just need to make your own other design and then go on Redbubble.
Yeah. I think I mean t-shirts. I think are good. I think if I can get a good design for cheaper, then I'd probably do it.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I could see it.
All right, I'll stop.
I can always wear clutches t-shirts. So, you know. Hey folks, you're watching On the Icebox with Iceberg Bricks. My guest today is Aussie Brick Chick. If you missed the video is posted on Iceberg's YouTube channel. Next Monday, I will have Who's Your Bricks on, so tune in at 9 p.m. to watch that on episode 8 of On the Icebox with Iceberg. You want to be on the show, just DM me on Instagram with Iceberg Bricks. We are back to you.
Yay!
So you're at the show, all right? You're at the show ABC, and I come up to you. You don't know me, and I don't know you, and I tell you that I'm a big fan of yours, and I love all the creations that you have. I followed you for a while, and I'm thinking about, you know, creating myself. What would you tell a novice like me?
Well, first I'd be shocked. I'd be like, "Oh, what? Really?" And then I you know, ask, you know, if you had an idea of what you were wanting to build, and just encourage you to get the first step is getting started. You got to start somewhere. Everyone starts small, and if they, if it is at a show and they're after something, a particular theme, I can point them in the direction of somebody who is really into that theme and be best buddies.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
Well, I do want to thank you for opening, the horizon for me as a new builder. I look to you for certain, advice and everything. You have helped me a lot, and you've been helping other people too. And we thank you, and we appreciate you. Appreciate you coming on the show. Yeah. So with that, we are going to say good night. Well, it's good night over here, good morning over there, for afternoon over there. So, thanks for tuning in. Next Monday, it's going to be Who's Your Bricks at 9 p.m. on Monday on the Icebox with Iceberg. Say good night, ABC.
Good night. Thanks for having me.
Good night, everybody.